What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to give you guys my RuroKen Hokkaido Arc Chapter 37 discussion. Yes, guys. Okay, this is all about the Shinsengumi in Sapporo, and obviously we get the clash between the Shinsengumi and the Judo Abe. This is in the past, so we get a flashback, and it's a dream. So it's in Nagakura's it's in his perspective. So that was really interesting to see, Nagakura's youth. You got Sanosuke Harada, one of his best friends. You got Todo Heisuke, another best friend of his. We even got Judo Abe, who now is currently with Saito and Nagakura. So we got a little bit of past and present meeting together, connecting. Also, we got Hattery, this imposing dual swordsman, which is very interesting because the dual swordsman on the Kinkaku Heki kind of connects to that. Now, I'm not saying that's him, but what I'm saying is it's very interesting that the past is now meeting the present. So it's almost like a hint to what's happening and what's to come. So I found that very interesting, and I want to further discuss some things from the chapter. Now, obviously, I'm going to have a few discussion questions here and there. And then at the end, I'm going to share some spoilers because Chapter 38 just dropped. I've read some of it, so it doesn't really spoil the discussion questions that I'm talking about because they're not really answered fully. So, but anyways, that's what it's going to go. What I want to do is I want to share the scans just like I did in the review. So we're going to look closer at the scans while I discuss. And by the way, a big shout out to Chris JP20 for all the color scans that I share in this video, including that intro that I did. So anyways, let's get to the discussion. Alright guys, so now we're going to take a closer look at the chapter, and I'm going to do my discussion questions while I share the scans. I feel like that was really effective in the review, so I wanted to do the same thing for the discussion questions. Now, there are a few discussion questions, and towards the end, I'm going to share some spoilers for the next chapter. So that's how it's going to go. Let's start with the first one. The first question is, what significant factors led to the Abara no Koji incident? Now, the Abara no Koji incident literally is the assassination of Kashitaro Ito, the former staff officer of the Shinsengumi and the leader of the Judo Abe. He was assassinated, left on Abara no Koji Street. That's where that name comes from. And his members, the Judo Abe, were sent to retrieve the body, but it was a trap set by the Shinsengumi, and they ambushed them. So this is the whole incident here. And, several lives were lost, and we get to see a lot of action. So that's the Abara no Koji incident. Now, what factors do you think that led to it? Well, for me, I feel like the Wolf's Code is a huge factor. The Wolf's Code is Kyoku-cho. That is Hijikata's strict rules for the Shinsengumi. Because remember, the Shinsengumi was a very powerful organization. But the problem was the internal disputes that it caused because it was too strict. People were dying left and right because they didn't follow it. And yeah, so people left the group and it ended up being the Judo Abe. And then you got, former Shinsengumi members fighting each other, killing each other off. So there were a lot of problems with that. So I gotta say, one of them has to be the actual code, the Wolf's Code, Hijikata's strict rules. The next one has to be the persuasion of other members. So Kashitaro Ito was originally a member of Shinsengumi, and he joined the Shiekan, which is where he met Heisuke. Heisuke Todo asked him to join the Shinsengumi, and he did, and he had great influence over him. So he got him to see that the problems within the Shinsengumi. So what did Heisuke do? He left. He left it behind and joined Kashitaro Ito's group. Not only him, but several others followed, including the Kenjutsu master of the dojo. Takeo Hattery was another big loss for the Shinsengumi. Judo Abe was another member who left and joined the Goryo Eiji. So there were quite a few that he was able to persuade. There's probably others as well. So this was another thing, the persuasion of getting the Shinsengumi members to join his group. So it's like he's kind of getting others to realize the problems within the Shinsengumi. Obviously, this didn't sit well with Kondo, so he sent a spy. And that spy is Hajime Saito. Hajime Saito was sent to the Goryo Eiji to investigate. He discovers a plot to assassinate Commander Kondo. And it was by Kashitaro Ito himself, according to Nagakura-san. So he reports it to Commander Kondo, and Kondo has him assassinated. So those, I believe, were the factors. And Kondo obviously did not really want to listen to Kashitaro Ito. He already took away several members of his organization from him, plus he kind of betrayed him. So you can see there were several factors. It wasn't just one factor that kind of caused all this. But it's very interesting to think about, because in the real account, Saito actually did not have actual proof that he actually was planning to assassinate him. So this could all be a mistake in the real account. I don't know if that's the case in the actual story, because it does state that Kashitaro Ito actually had a plot to kill Commander Kondo. But it's interesting to think about. The next question: was Heisuke's death a mistake? Now, obviously, I'm talking about Heisuke Todo, right? So we have obviously Nagakura trying to reason with him, right? He's fighting him. He's kind of like, try to get out of here. Run. Get out of here while you still can. And he's like, there's no use in running away. The wolf's code is strict. It's too strict. They're going to kill me. And at first, I believed that Nagakura and Harada were the only ones trying to save him. But if you look here, he says, I'll take care of it. And then he says, everyone, all your comrades at the dojo, don't want to see you throw your life away. So this implies that everyone at the dojo, including the Commander Kondo, is in agreement that they don't want Heisuke to die for the Goryo Eiji. He wants them back. He wants him back. So it's an exception to that strict rule of the Shinsengumi, where if you betray, if you leave, you have to die. So I guess Todo Heisuke was an exception to that rule, because here it really makes it seem like everyone was in on it. The leaders were all in agreement. They don't want Heisuke to die. So it comes as a pretty big shock when some of these members that are unnamed just straight up kill him out of nowhere. So we're going to see that here in a second. So here is what I'm talking about. So it seems like he's kind of, trying to reason with him. But then you can see, out of nowhere, obviously Nagakura is like in the middle fighting Takeo Hattery, but out of nowhere, these Shinsengumi just surround him and just straight up kill him. So I'm thinking, like, this has to be a mistake, because he's trying to reason with him. He says everyone at the dojo doesn't want to see you die, doesn't want to see you throw your life away. And then these guys just kill him without provocation. So what I did, I looked up the real account. I looked up the real historical account. It is true. Commander Kondo was in agreement with Nagakura that he didn't want Todo Heisuke to throw his life away. He wanted him to come back to the Shinsengumi and was willing to forgive his betrayal of him leaving. Remember, he left the Shinsengumi behind. So it's very interesting that that's the case. But these members did not know what was going on. The situation was unknown to them, and you can see they just have no idea what's going on, because you can see kind of they straight up kill him without any provocation. I mean, he wasn't even holding. I mean, it didn't even look like he was trying to attack him at all. They just straight up killed him. So that was pretty shocking and a sad moment in the chapter. But I did notice this. It does seem like a mistake, because at first it looks like Nagakura and Harada are they're doing this by themselves. But then when he states that that he, everyone at the dojo doesn't want this, it does suggest that everyone like that he trained with, the big leaders, the unit generals, the captains, all of them, they don't want to see him throw his life away. So anyways, I wanted to share that. It's very interesting to think about. Okay, how many members of the Shinsengumi did Hattery kill? Now, Hattery is, Takeo Hattery was the member who fought at the Aburo-Nakoji incident. This is what I'm talking about. This guy. This guy's huge. He's imposing. He's very skilled. He's a Kenjutsu master. Look at all these Shinsengumi members that he's fighting all at once. And then just look at all these bodies go flying. Multiple bodies. It looks like there's like 8 or 9 bodies all at once falling. So how many members of the Shinsengumi did he fight? And how many did he kill? This is something interesting to think about. Obviously, he fought Saito and Nagakura. And obviously, he fought Kai Shimada, as I mentioned before. He also fought Harada, Sanosuke Harada, because he's the one that finished him off, because, he was fighting alone. That's another thing. Takeo Hattery is the only one left. So after the Goryo Eiji is kind of purged, they kind of, ambush them. There's a few members, but they flee. This guy does not flee. This guy is a true samurai. He just keeps fighting and fighting, regardless of numbers. And he ends up dying, obviously. But he fights like crazy amounts of people. I'm just curious about the number, how many he fights, because, that would be something interesting to find out. So here is the scan of him, like, just dropping the members of Shinsengumi like flies. Look at this. Just continuous members just going up and down. I mean, there's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So many. I would say countless. I don't know exactly how many. Maybe up to maybe 50 at a time. He's fighting a lot. So it's interesting to think about how many actually fought and how many he killed. Obviously, he had to have killed some. But I would love to see that fight with him and Shimada, Kai Shimada, because apparently Kai Shimada was the bodyguard of Commander Kono, because he actually saved his life when he was shot by with that gun, the shotgun. So that's something interesting to think about. Okay, how much older was Abe compared to Saito? Now, we're talking about Judo Abe. Saito absolutely hates this guy. But how much older is he? He mentions something very interesting in the chapter. This is Judo Abe, right? He mentions that Saito is a young man. A young man. I mean, Hajime Saito was young in the Shinsengumi, but he says he's still a young man. So how old is Judo Abe compared to Saito? So I did some math on this. So according to the records, Saito was born in 1844, and in the 16th year of the Meiji, that is 39 years old. So he is a 39-year-old man in this scan right here. And Nagakura Shinpachi was born in 1839, and he is 44 years old. So Nagakura here is 44 years old. Now, he has white hair, so he's a little older. He's 5 years older, it looks like. And then Judo Abe, he is born in 1837, so he's 46. He's 46, and he's 39. So he is quite older than Saito. So I found that very interesting that he's that much older. I didn't realize that, because when you look at it here, it doesn't really seem like he's that much older than him. This is their Shinsengumi days. Yeah, so they're older than Saito, but he's oldest. So I was very surprised about that. Okay, the next question. Do you think Abe might tip off the Kenkaku Heki about Saito and Nagakura? Obviously, he wants them to fail. He wants the Shinsengumi to lose. He doesn't feel like he won anything in the actual revolution, so he wants them to absolutely fail against the Kenkaku Heki. I do feel like he would kind of tip him off. I don't know if he would go directly to them, but I do feel like he would do anything to see them lose. He's kind of a shady character, so that's my personal feeling. But what do you guys think? We'll have to see in the new chapter. Okay, the next one, and this is the last discussion question, and it's also a very interesting one. So the last discussion question talks about the skull Yobe. Yobe, the member of Kenkaku Heki. Obviously, you see his eyes light up here. He says, "Show me your true value. Will you beg and cry for your life, or will you fight for it?" And so, when his eyes light up, I'm thinking, like, is this kind of his power? And what kind of power does it hold? So, I got to thinking, and is this the Shino Ippo? Like, that would be very interesting because he has a mask. So he's kind of hiding his face. Obviously, it's got to be a mask, right? And this seems to be his hair, right? So he doesn't seem to be a very old man. I mean, he's got black hair, it looks like. But anyways, I found it very interesting. It does seem very similar to the Shino Ippo. And if it's not the Shino Ippo, it's got to be something similar to it. I feel like this is something related to his power. Now, what you're going to see next is very interesting. When I was looking through the Tokuhitsuban, this is Restoration and Master of Flame all in one, I came across something very interesting, and this is in Restoration. Now, when we're first introduced in Restoration, we have a chapter about Jine Udo, right? He comes to the dojo, and he kind of attacks Kaoru. Well, he doesn't really attack her. He just kind of provokes her. And then I guess he does attack her because he uses Shino Ippo. But look at this. Does this not look similar to that same scan that I showed you of Yobe? Look at this. This is Jine Udo using Shino Ippo. Look at the eyes. Look at the skull. Obviously, this is kind of his inner self, right? But the fact that it shows the skull in this manner kind of got me thinking a little bit. And it even has his hair sticking out, just like it showed with Yobe I just told you about. That's very interesting, and I just found it. I was like, holy crap, that is a very interesting reference. Now, it's not the exact same, but if you look at Yobe here, like I said, there's the hair, there's the eyes, and there's the skull mask. Now, look again here to compare it. Okay, it's not the exact same, right? But at the same time, it is very interesting, and it is similar, I have to say. So, I know it's not Jine Udo, right? It's not Jine Udo, but could it be something related to the Shinsengumi? Because we know Jine Udo was in the Shinsengumi. So, and we know that's Nikaido Hen, I think. Nikaido Hei, what was it? The style, Nikaido style. A spell. So anyways, I think it's Nikaido Heiho or something like that. But anyways, that's a certain spell used by Jine. So I found it interesting, but anyways, I just wanted to share it, and yeah. So that was very interesting, and it just came across. I don't know why. I just opened this book and I was like, holy crap, that looks like Yobe. So maybe he got some inspiration from drawing Restoration to create this character. I would think so. I mean, that's pretty close. So, anyways, guys, that is my discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Now we're going to get to the spoilers. chapter 38. We're going to get more on Yobe. Yobe is going to be shown, and also this bastard is going to be shown. Ichikawa, the one that's laughing, the one that was drunk with his stupid friends. Okay, now obviously Yobe kind of confronts them, right? And they're basically, cowards. They just want to beg for their life. Well, in this chapter, we see their heads decapitated. So you're going to see their heads cut off. So Yobe wanted, he obviously their value was useless. So he killed them off. We're going to see that. And also we're going to see Ichikawa absolutely pissed off because he realizes the Shinsengumi are at fault for this. They were the ones that were supposed to confront him, but his friends died. So these are his friends, by the way. They're the ones that end up dead, and he's just completely drunk here, so he's also at fault for not, going home with them. He should have been the one to die, to be honest. But anyways, we have Judo Abe and Saito Nagakura. They're also going to have some interaction. We're going to get some kind of disagreements between the two. Nagakura and Saito discuss what's happened in several of the battles so far. Hakodate, Otaru, and also Sapporo. So we're going to see several of those things play out a little bit. And we're also going to see some disagreements between Judo Abe and Ichikawa. And that's a very interesting one because he doesn't really want to be a decoy in this mission. So he gets bored and he walks away. So Judo Abe walks away and he's kind of gone for a day or so. At least that was my understanding of it. I haven't translated all of it. And then the next scene, we see the skull mask of Yobe. He's in a cave in Sapporo. And what's interesting is on that page, it says, "It's been a while since I've seen Gamshin," at the very top. And then we see a mysterious man talking to Yobe. Could that be Abe? It has to be someone very close to Nagakura and Saito because he's telling him all about the Shinsengumi. So that's another thing. So we got these enemies coming up, new enemies, but it could be Judo Abe himself because he ends up going off on his own. And even Saito tells Mishima, your mission starting from tomorrow is to track down Abe. So obviously he left and he's doing something on his own. He even said, "I have work to do." So I think there's a plot where Abe is trying to eliminate, Saito and Nagakura, and he's giving information. There's some kind of exchange happening. Now, again, we don't see his face, but that's my understanding of it. I don't know if it really is Abe, but it's interesting nonetheless. Okay, and then towards the end of the chapter, it's a shorter chapter, by the way. Towards the end of the chapter, we go back to Hakodate, and we have the other members of Kinkaku Heki. We have Byakuya and some of the other members. Now, what's interesting about this, one of them is the scarred man, the unknown man from Byakuya's group. And this guy absolutely hates Saito. He hates him to the point where he calls him his mortal enemy. So it's very interesting. We see complete malice in his face. And this really, it seems like he's leaving off on his own. And they call him Newcomer. He doesn't even have a name. So to me, he didn't join the Kinkaku Heki for any means other than to track Saito down. He wants to kill him. That's his main mission. So we got two new enemies that are plotting against Nagakura and Saito. One of them could be Abe. The other one seems to be this mysterious member of Byakuya's group, who we've seen in the past has this hatred towards Saito, but it seems like he's on his way to Sapporo now to find them. So it's a very interesting chapter. It's a shorter chapter, but anyways, it's very interesting. So that's what happens, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my discussion. Hopefully it brought some interesting points out. And yeah, guys, look out for chapter 38. I will post some previews, probably coming very soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.